Thanks for tuning in. I'm Greg DePalma as we have another NASCAR starting lineup report for you on a Friday night. This is a still a win and you advance as far as the NASCAR playoffs are concerned. 16. That is the number of drivers that are still alive for the playoffs. Will be whittled down to 12 after the race tomorrow night at Bristol. The weather should be fantastic. I should know because I'm about an hour drive away from the racetrack, and hey, it's going to be fantastic here. So looking forward to no delays whatsoever, and that's awesome. Okay. The big surprise, of course, as you can see there, is AJ Allmendinger on the pole. How about that? What does that do for our predictions, for any particular trends that we're going to be diving into? Nothing at all. But hey, it's great. Good to see someone different like AJ on the pole. Whether or not he could win a race like this, I'm not so sure that that's something that we're going to take a chance with. But taking a look, actually, where do I got my AJ Allmendinger stuff? I don't think I've noticed anything that stuck out with AJ. He's never led a lap in his 5 next gen races here, but he does have 2 top 10s, and he was 9th earlier this year from the 8th position. So this is not like this really shouldn't be looked at as a monumentally crazy situation. I mean, there is a lot of other drivers that I could have picked out and been like, well, where did that come from? AJ definitely would he's definitely one of those drivers that I could say out of all those really crazy long shots, he's one of the more, I'm going to say predictable, but he's, let's see, where is he? 100-1. Just wanted to check that out because I can't find the right adjective. 100-1. Those were AJ's odds when we talked about the race on Tuesday. Of course, we do the preview of the race every Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern with CJ we're doing from rotowire.com. We also talk a little F1 whenever there's some F1 to talk about. Okay, so AJ Allmendinger on the pole. We also have to talk once again, and I guess this is the way it's going to be throughout the playoffs. They're putting the non-playoff drivers with the first group, and then a majority of the playoff driver, well, all the playoff drivers, and then several other drivers with the second group coming out on practice. And what that's going to do is make the practice speeds unfair all the way through to the playoffs. And this is, I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but look, if you're going to do it that way, and the fastest speeds are early, then let the playoff drivers go faster. Let them go first. I don't know what I mean, and I'm sure it's because, well, who really cares about the second group, right? I don't know. I just don't like the way they're doing this because it's screwing up with numbers and stats, and it's not, it's just it's not as easy. So I'm going to try to I'm trying to put together like a little bit of a formula to make this work with the practice speeds now, and I'll introduce that to you in just a little bit. I don't have an actual system yet, but just something that makes a little bit of sense. Okay, now there's nothing to find out here regarding manufacturer trends. Whether in practice or in qualifying. So that's something that you can just wipe out here as far as handicapping. Okay. Toyota and Chevy, of course, had won 2 races apiece in the last 4 coming in. Ford, of course, 0 out of the next 4. So, of course, you could say, all right, Toyota, Chevy, a little bit of an edge over Ford. But just the way that the manufacturers race today, there isn't any. Just wipe that out. If you like a Ford driver, pick a Ford driver. Same thing, Toyota and Chevy. Okay, so I'm sorry, I just couldn't find any, and I don't think that's anything you should be worrying about or getting too crazy about. All right, so that's one part that we can throw out. The one that we're not going to throw out is starting position. So we're going to draw a line. The first line is going to be right here, okay? And that is because out of the last 12 winners here at Bristol, 8 winners started in the top 2 rows with 3 pole sitters, okay? So AJ has a little bit of that going on. So AJ was 100-1. What would be where would you lose value at if you wanted to take AJ and say, hey, let's go with AJ? I would say everybody has their own mark. I would say I'd want at least 15 or 20 to 1. At least. Anything lower than that, they can keep it. I don't know what they're going to do with AJ. 100 to 1. Interesting. I think you're still going to get somewhere around 15 to 20 to 1. You should, because there's too many other, like there's a lot of haves and haves nots at this speedway since next gen. And so with a lot of haves, they're all going to be getting gobbled up with the odds. And so an AJ coming from 100 to 1, even though I don't think he's going to be able to make it down very far. So I'll say 15 to 21 is not a bad idea. And if you can get better than that, which you might be able to, I don't think he's the worst crazy long shot idea based on what I said. 2 top 10s in next gen, top 10 earlier this year, on the pole, had a good practice run. So why not? But we're going to draw a line, first of all, through the top 4. Okay. The second line we're going to draw a line through is going to be the top 10. So you see Larson, Hamlin, Byron Wallace, Bell, and Berry. Okay, so that's the second line, and that's because 10 of the last 12 winners started in the top 10. Okay, so we have 8 of the last 12 started in the top 2 rows, with 3 of the last 12 on the pole, and 10 of the last 12 winners started in the top 10. The last line we're going to draw, okay, you see some of the others. There's Chastain, Reddick, Bowman, Elliott, playoff drivers, okay, is right here. And that's because during that 12-race stretch, the farthest back a winner has started was 20th. Okay, so we have a 17th and a 20th. Those are the only 2 that started outside the top 10. So we're going to go with that, meaning, and just quickly for me to take a look to see if I notice anybody who I think could make, actually top 20. No. I shouldn't say that. 1 driver. 1. Okay. It's not Buescher. It's not Logano. It's not SVG. It's Briscoe. Kyle Busch, I've been a big fan for so long. And I don't know, but I just get the feeling that whether he knows it or not, psychologically or not, I think he's quit. I mean, I think he's given up, not quit. I think he's just, come on, Kyle Busch, 32nd qualifying. And in practice, what was he in practice? He was terrible in practice. Come on. At Bristol, even though I know he hasn't been at his best here with the new team. I mean, how far back was Kyle? What was his worst? Where was he? I mean, look at this. Next gen. He has an average finish of 23.6 and an average start of 18.8. But even in next gen, his average start is 18.8. And here he's starting 32nd. I mean, you just get the feeling. Look, I'm not going to say that he's given up necessarily, quit, all that. What I mean is, and that's why I said psychologically, because it's you have to bring, like, if it's a, hey, we got a chance, we're in the playoffs, this is a chance for us to win this race and get to the next round. There's that extra bit of oomph, the extra bit of desire that just is not there. You can tell it's just not there. And that extra desire from not only Kyle, but probably crew chief down the line, everybody. It's silly season. Who knows whose job is where? Probably a lot of guys who probably won't even be there next year. It's not good right now. And this is just sad to see at Bristol. Really sad to see. So Briscoe is going to be the only one. And that's because out of all the drivers that in practice, in the second group that fared the best, Ryan Blaney was first, and Chase Briscoe was second. So I don't know what happened to him. We came on the air we came to record this like 10 minutes after it ended. So I don't know. Maybe there's something out, but I watched it and it was just a slow run. No reason why. No reason why. But maybe there's a reason I just didn't have time to get. So maybe you guys will. And if you figure it out, please leave it in the comments section for anybody else that checks this video out, because I did not get an explanation at all. It wasn't like he slid anywhere or had issues you could see with your own eyes. It was just a slow time. So something had to happen. But okay. So here we go. Now, let's get into what we're going to do here, starting with the first group. All right, so we have AJ, Blaney, Cindric, Gibbs. Now, how I'm going to do practice is this. This is going to be my formula. Is that you've got, and it's going to be similar to what we said last week, which is I'm just going to take primarily the playoff drivers, and that's it. The Group B drivers. It's all I care about. Not even the playoff drivers, Group B drivers. I'm just going to put them like if they're just Group A doesn't matter. But I will let several Group A drivers into the mix, like an AJ, because AJ was on the pole. And AJ was also 5th fastest in Group A. So I'm gonna give AJ a little bit benefit of the doubt, which is why I'm gonna put AJ's time, which would have been, actually, I don't even know what would have. It would have probably, actually, I don't even know what it would have been. I think it would have been something like around, let's see. Actually, yeah, I'm not even sure where it would have been. But all I know is he was 5th in Group A. Okay. So in Group B, he might have been in the top 10 somewhere. So I'm going to put him like right around 7. In other words, respectable practice run for AJ Allmendinger. And that's all I care about. And so respectable practice run and the fastest driver. If you're getting, again, 15 to 20 to 1, I think it should be more. If you're getting that, why not? It's not the worst idea in the world. But Blaney, considering he was the second, if you look at it, he would have been, he ended up the 2nd fastest overall. Okay. And a matter of fact, that's how it went, because, and AJ was actually, let's see, if he was 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, I think AJ was 10th overall. And I don't have, J-Ski's site wasn't working. I couldn't get it to work, which is why I'm using NASCAR. Let me see if they have the practice speeds. See, I don't even see them here. So I have no idea what they did with them. Wait, let me see. Probably here. There it is. Okay, so here it is. This will answer our questions. AJ was 11th. Okay, so let's just run through the practice. So again, Haley still ended up 1st, whatever that means. There's Hocevar, Keselowski, McDowell. Out of the drivers that were in Group A, I would probably only be looking at, look, obviously, if you're 1st fastest in a group, you deserve something there. Hocevar, let's use him. Let's use Keselowski. McDowell's okay, but that's it. I'm not using any of these other Group A drivers. Okay, and that includes Kyle. Where's Kyle overall on this? Look at that, 36th. Look how bad Buescher and Reddick were. And again, this is going to be different. Okay, so for instance, they're in the 30s, but what do I have? So, like, for instance, in my model, you have Larson 27th. How bad was that practice run? Or, again, compared. This is just, combined. Logano 31st. So let's say Larson 27th. We have Larson 17th. So it's still not really good, but it should have been somewhere around 17th. And then Logano 31st. We have Logano at 20th. Reddick 34th. We've got Reddick at 23rd. And I think that's it for Berry had a really slow run there. We have him at 25th. So you get the gist. If you're way back there, it's not good either way, especially because if you think about the trends to win at Bristol since next gen, you have got to have a good qualifying run, and you have to have a top 12, top 15 at the least practice run. That's what it's saying for all the winners in next gen, which makes sense because it's a short track like Bristol. So we want a fast qualifying run, and we want a solid practice run, that combination. Okay, so out of that group, then, let's talk about these top four. And again, we told you what we're going to do with AJ. Blaney, I mean, come on. He was my top pick on Tuesday, and I'm just absolutely feeling great about where Ryan Blaney stands now. And I've been saying this for about 3 years now, 4 years, about Blaney and Bristol, that I just really thought he was going to be even more successful here sooner. But it's getting to the point where we're going to see it. It's going to happen. He's going to lead a lot of laps here at some point, and he's going to win a race here at some point, and it will happen soon. So, and maybe it's tomorrow night. So I certainly hope so. What did I get him at? I think 6. What did I get him at? 6-1. 6-1. Okay, so Cindric, I'm not feeling it. The only good thing for Cindric is, obviously he's in a good position here as far as qualifying, so that'll give him a shot. But with Cindric, his average finish here is 22.6. The good news is his average starting position is 21.4. So he's never had this happen before. And he had a top 15 practice run, which is good enough. So Cindric is definitely in play. Now, the only thing is really he just does not never, he doesn't have the results here yet. But you are getting a big price, so that's important. You were getting 45-1. I still need a big number with Cindric, though. I still need Cindric. So for instance, I think you're still going to get like AJ. Maybe at the worst case, it's 15-20-1. Okay. If that's the case, who do you like better, AJ or Cindric? And I don't know. I might take AJ because AJ was actually faster than Cindric today and has better results here than Cindric. So so I take a look at the odds for sure. If you see a big difference between AJ's odds and Cindric odds, then I'm taking whoever's getting the better odds. But if they're close, then I would probably take AJ over Cindric. But of course, Cindric is trying to win to get to the next round, and that could make things interesting. So he's definitely in play for a long shot spot, no doubt about it. Gibbs is also in play. We talked about this. This is CJ's second pick. Okay, so CJ went with Gibbs, second choice. The odds were 18-1. I thought they were a little low for Gibbs, but I was with CJ with this pick. And if you look at it, 2 top 5s and 5 next gen races. He's led a few hundred laps. And as we mentioned the other day, 3rd earlier this year at Bristol and 5th at Dover. Those are his only 2 short track concrete races, or shorter track concrete races. And so that to me is a sign that he's got the concrete short track thing going. So watch out. He also led some laps from the pole in one Xfinity race in 2022. So he's had a little experience here in both series, a little positive experience. And I don't think those odds are going to drop much. I've seen Gibbs most of the season, even when things were going well, if he qualified and practiced well, his odds just never changed, even if they were 15-1 or they never did. So I think you're still getting 18-1 on Gibbs. You might even get 20-1 on Gibbs. So I'm fine with Gibbs if you want to go there, especially since he's in the top 4. Now, this next group from Larson to Berry. Larson, that bad practice time says, I don't know. That's not what I've seen in the trends. And the other thing is he going to win 3 straight races at Bristol? He dominated the first 2. And that's also important to note because he did dominate the first 2 Saturdays as well. When he won earlier this year, he was third overall and fourth in final practice. And then in the night race last year, he was second on the front row and third in final practice. So clearly faster than what we've seen today. And throw in the fact that he's off his game, hasn't been right for a while, and he'd have to win 3 straight Bristol races. That's still asking a lot. And because he's starting 5th, he's still going to end up being the favorite. So you're getting no value now whatsoever on Kyle Larson. So I feel the same way. I feel better now, actually, because I don't want to see Kyle Larson looking great today, because that would have definitely made the opportunity for everybody else a lot more difficult. Now, Denny Hamlin, okay, now he's the other one, though, and he's a problem because not only is he qualifying 6th, but he had, based on our formula, the 3rd fastest practice run. And Denny, who knows, maybe his odds will start to shrink even closer to Kyle Larson's because of this. But I still would go with Hamlin over Larson based on the odds, though. And to tell you the truth, I guess if they were even, I don't know. I might have to think about that. That would be a tough one. I'd probably go with Larson. If Larson and Hamlin's odds were close or even, I'd still have to go with Larson. But if Hamlin is still getting a point more, a point and a half, 2 points more, I'll take Hamlin. He's definitely on a better run than Larson. He also has 3 wins here overall, and it's coming off wins at Martinsville and Dover this year. Okay, Larson's been good on these tracks this year, Martinsville, Dover, and Richmond, the similar tracks, but he hasn't won, and Hamlin's got 2 wins. He also has the 2 wins prior to Larson's 2 wins. So it's been Larson, Hamlin. All right. And I'd sure like to see Blaney start a new streak of Blaney. We'll see if he can do that. But yeah, Hamlin is in a really good position too here. So he's looking a little bit better than Larson, just a little bit. Then you've got Byron, and I'm not changing my mind on Byron, especially since he had a slow practice run. That definitely eliminates any chances I think he's going to have. Martinsville 22nd, Dover 32nd, Richmond 12th. He's done nothing there. He's never led a lap ever at Bristol in 12 races. He was 6th this year, which is as good as Byron's had here. He's had a couple top 5s, but no, not William Byron, especially because you're going to only be right around 10-1, which is what he was on Tuesday. Bubba was my long shot pick, and so I feel good because, again, in my formula, both runs were top 10, 8th here. I had 9th in practice. And if you want to look at the reason why, as far as I went with Wallace, where do I have Wallace here? Here it is. His top 5, he has 1 top 5 here, and that was in this race last year. Okay. He also has a round of 16 finishes of 8th and 6th. So he's doing pretty well. He was 3rd at Martinsville, 7th at Dover. So a lot to like there, and for a long shot, and especially since he's off to a good start. Bell is also okay as far as the trends. 9th and an 8th in my model in practice. 7-1. That's the only thing you have to be concerned with. That's what he was a couple of days ago. Let's see. The thing with Bell, though, as we all know, he's nowhere near as hot as he was earlier this season. He was 2nd at Martinsville. That's good. That's his only good finish, though, out of the 3 races this year. He was 8th earlier this year at Bristol, 5th in this race last year, but no laps led in those 2 races. He did have a really good run in the 2023 race and the 2022 race, though. He was 3rd and 4th in those 2 races, and he led. I think it was over 300, almost 350 laps combined in those races. So this is a good track for Christopher Bell, but there are other drivers that are just a little bit better. But if for some reason, depending on what kind of a fantasy game you're in and he's an option, definitely take him. I don't have any problem with that. Again, he's got the trends working for him fine. And I didn't mention Blaney's situation. So Blaney has 3 top 5s in his career. He has led over 500 laps here, which is pretty impressive considering he only has 3 top 5s. One of them was this year when he finished 5th, and he led 48 laps. He also has a win in the Xfinity Series at Bristol. Most importantly, he's as hot as any driver out there. without the wins. He does have one of them, though, in his last 8 races with 7 top 10s overall. And he has done pretty solid in these short track races. 11th Martinsville, 8th Dover, 3rd Richmond. All right. And Berry, yeah, it's a pipe dream for Josh Berry right now. His practice run was just awful. That's a bad sign. He was able to get in 10th, which is nice as far as his qualifying run. It's the best qualifying run he's ever had, actually. Just double checking. No, excuse me. He was on the front row in 2023, I believe. And he led 25 laps, finished 12th in that one. Okay. And what was his odds, Berry's? Berry's odds, he was coming in here at 35 to 1. And as far as the long shots outside, if you want to go again with one of these, now Hocevar is 12th here, as you can see, and 10th in my model on practice. So I think that's fine. This is CJ's long shot pick. So I don't think that should change CJ's mind. It wouldn't change my mind. And he was 11th earlier this year from the 9th position. Chastain, meanwhile, Reddick, Bowman, Elliott, as far as you can see there, as far as the playoff drivers. Now, Chastain and Elliott have the better practice runs. Reddick really slow in practice. And considering he's starting 14th, I'm not interested. I'm very disappointed in Bowman's day. I want better than 15th and 11th in my practice formula. I want better than that. But hey, at least he is in the top 15, so he has a shot. And taking a look, let me see if I notice anything else from Bowman. Oh, yeah, of course, this year. Remember, he had engine issues and was on the pole, led 39 laps. He was also on the pole in this race last year and led 34 laps. So he's gone from the pole to 15th. But hey, he didn't finish those races really strong. So I think that matters. And if you look at it overall, he has 3 top 5s at the track. He did finish 3rd at Dover and 2nd at Richmond. That's the reason why I took him as a long shot. Elliott, he's in Chastain. Now, these are the 2 that had the decent practice runs. And I think Chase Elliott is an excellent choice here. He was 11 to 1. I believe his numbers were 11 to 1. And so we both liked Elliott, CJ and I. And this position might be good for him. But the problem is he's really looking at just getting to the next round, that sort of thing. So a lot's going to depend on how many chances he really wants to take and all that. The good news is, again, if you look at it, he was 4th at Martinsville, 6th at Dover. Next gen, 4 top 10s out of 5, but he's only led 5 laps total, even though he has 2 runner-ups in next gen results here. Never won ever at this track. So look, I think you're going to get decent odds with Chase. And so I think he's a good sleeper. The problem is if his odds are, like let's say he was 11 to 1 before. So if that's the case, I want better than 11 to 1 now. Okay. And if you're not going to get that, I don't know. I might skip. I want 14 or 15 to 1 now on Elliott. Haley could be an interesting long shot. Let's see. But yeah, nobody else except Briscoe, as I mentioned. So the thing with Briscoe, what will his odds be now? Well, I'll tell you, if his odds don't come down from 10 to 1, you can keep your money because of where he's starting. But if you wind up getting 15 to 1 or better, which I don't think you're going to get, but if you can get 15 to 1, 14 to 1, sort of like Elliott, if you can get some extra points because of how things went today, then I think you should take a look at it. Briscoe at Bristol. Say that 5 times fast. Excellent in the Xfinity Series. In his last 4, first, second, and fourth. He was 4th and 8th in his last 2 races here during next gen. 2nd at Dover. And we all know what kind of a hot streak he's on in Cup. So, look, I got to get better odds, though, coming in after this day. And really, it's not the day. It's just a qualifying run. Once again, you want to check out and find out if there were any problems with that. Now, let's wrap it up. And again, I'm just going to say with Blaney, uh, I'm just sticking with Ryan. There's absolutely no reason for me not to. And where will his odds drop, though? I don't, with Hamlin and Larson ahead of him, and even Bell sitting there in a good spot. Um, I honestly don't think that it's going to drop that much, and it shouldn't. Now, let's say Blaney's odds drop to 4-1, and you have Larson 3-1, Hamlin 4-1, and Blaney 4-1, and you haven't taken Blaney yet. I just don't think that's good value right now, because he does not have the results here that Larson and Hamlin do. And if that's what they're going to give you, you're just better off going with Larson or Hamlin. I just have to admit that. But if I'm still getting better odds than those guys, which he should, then, maybe you still want to go after him. I'm going to be very intrigued to find out what kind of odds he gets. As far as that top four group, Blaney's the obvious pick. Then I would go AJ. Actually, I go Gibbs first, then AJ, then Cindric. All right. Then as far as that, from group 5 to 10, or from starting position 5 to 10, I'm not taking Berry. I'm not taking Byron. You've got Larson and Hamlin there, so you know the picture there. And then Wallace was my long shot. I think that's a good long shot play still. And you got Bell. So, Bell's probably going to be 7-1. And then Hocevar in the outside top 10 drivers. I didn't even mention Chastain. Where was Chastain at? Chastain has never led a lap in his career at Bristol, but he's never qualified in the top 10 before. He's got an average starting position of 27.3. So now he all of a sudden becomes 13th in qualifying. So that's big. And then you take a look at the fact that in 5 next gen races, he has 3 top 10s. So that there's some positive signs there for Chastain, and he's definitely desperate to go out there and have a good day. So he's not really a bad idea, Chastain. He's in the trend zone, 6th in practice with my formula. So I think Chastain is definitely someone, depending on the odds, because he was at 22-1. So if you could still get 20-1 odds on Chastain, he's definitely a live long shot. Reddick, no. Let's see. And then that's it. And yeah, Briscoe. So there you go. So anyway, again, it's very confusing, the whole thing with practice. And that's going to make things a lot harder for me every week when we do this. But I try to do the best I can. That's why you want to check out our Tuesday show with CJ and I. We go over everything. We check out all past history of the track and a lot of other things we throw in there that I don't have time to go on a show like this today. So anyway, you can check out the link in the description of this video. So you could check out the show we did the other day, and that's really good. As I said, also, Kevin Rogers is going to have his video. We're going to post that on race day. So that's tomorrow. So check out Kevin Rogers and his pick. He's also going to have a matchup pick. So that'll be available. So you get another perspective on somebody and see where he goes. And that's going to wrap it up. So if you have any questions, comments, anything at all, let me know. And don't forget to subscribe. That is the most important thing, so we can keep providing these videos to you for free. And that's the deal, right? Also, like the video. And we'll see you again on Tuesday when we take a look at the next round, the round of 12, and 4 drivers are eliminated. We'll see who that is. And don't forget, now that especially we're in the playoffs, you never know when we're going to pop in there for one of our live post-race shows. That's why you also want to hit the bell whenever you subscribe, because the bell is the notification signal that lets you know, hey, wait a second, just so you know, there's a show going on right now. Even though it's going to, I'll say this, I'm actually happy, though, that even though there's college football and there's some big games on Saturday night, it's much better whenever there's it definitely, if Sunday can get crazy with the NFL late on a, NASCAR ends like around halftime of NFL 4 o'clock games. So Saturday night's pretty good. And I just hope it's a good race. They're talking about this new tire. They're trying to implement this into the race tomorrow night. And everybody's going to keep their fingers crossed that the new tire will maybe wear down enough that'll make things interesting, where drivers might be able to make some strategic decisions on tire stops late in the race, and maybe they'll be able to come from behind. Who knows? It's a crapshoot, but we can only keep our fingers crossed and hope that there isn't a complete domination tomorrow night, unless it's Ryan Blaney. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see everybody again on Tuesday at 4 Eastern with CJ Radoon and myself. Also, speaking of CJ, check out the link in the description for his DFS report, best bets report on this race, careofrotowire.com, and of course, CJ Radoon.